In 2004, the Federal Emergency Management Agency, FEMA, was trying to create a reliable disaster response metric. They needed something more accurate than weather reports and more immediate than damage assessments. On paper, using a 24-hour diner chain as your emergency barometer actually worked. It didn't make Waffle House respectable. Respectability wasn't built to survive hurricanes. The problem wasn't execution. The problem was identity. It looked like a restaurant chain, but it was a chaos-powered survival machine. Those two don't coexist in polite society. And for a moment it worked. Not because it was classy, but because it was indestructible. This isn't a story about bad branding, it's a story about choosing authenticity over acceptance. Once you see it, you'll understand why some businesses win by refusing to play nice. Today we're diving into the syrupy saga of why Waffle House chose chaos over class and somehow became America's most indestructible restaurant empire. Before we get started, please subscribe to the Falling Food channel and leave a comment to tell us what other restaurant survival stories you want to hear. Okay, time to scatter, smother, and cover the truth about America's most unapologetic diner. Let's start with the basics. What is Waffle House? Well, it's a 24-hour diner chain that serves breakfast around the clock in a yellow sign temple to organized chaos. But calling it just a restaurant is like calling a hurricane just some wind. It all started with Joe Rogers Sr. and Tom Faulkner, two men who met while working at the Toddle House restaurant chain in the 1940s. Rogers was a regional manager, Faulkner was a real estate investor, and together they had a simple but revolutionary idea. What if a restaurant never closed? Ever. On Labor Day, 1955, they opened the first Waffle House on East College Avenue in Avondale Estates, Georgia. The concept was radical for the time. 24 hours, 365 days a year, with an open kitchen where customers could watch their food being made. Most diners closed at night. Waffle House said night was just getting started. That first location was tiny, just 16 stools arranged in a horseshoe around the grill. But it worked. Customers loved watching their eggs crack, their hash browns scatter across the griddle, and their waffles emerge from those iconic square irons. It wasn't fancy, but it was theater. By the 1960s, Waffle House started expanding across Georgia and into neighboring states. But unlike other chains that franchised everything, Rogers and Faulkner made a crucial decision. They would own their real estate, train their own managers, and maintain direct control over every location. The 1970s and the 1980s were the golden age of highway travel and suburban sprawl. Interstate highways were connecting every corner of America, and travelers needed places to stop that felt familiar. Waffle House positioned itself as the reliable pit stop, the place that would always be open, always serve the same food, and always be exactly what you expected. The 1980s were when Waffle House became more than a restaurant. It became a cultural institution. Late-night workers, long-haul truckers, college students, and anyone who lived outside traditional hours found their tribe at the Waffle House counter. The hash browns became legendary, not just for their taste, but for their ordering system. Scattered, smothered, covered was not just menu speak, it was a secret language. Scattered meant spread on the grill, smothered meant with onions, covered meant with cheese. Add chunked, diced, peppered, capped, topped, and country, and you had a proprietary dialect that made customers feel like insiders. The open kitchen wasn't just functional, it was performance art. Grill operators would call out orders, flip hash browns with theatrical flair, and create a symphony of sizzling that became the soundtrack of late-night America. By 1990, Waffle House had over 1,000 locations across 20 states, primarily concentrated in the South. They were serving over 145 waffles per minute during peak hours and had become the world's leading server of waffles, hash browns, and T-bone steaks. But here is where most restaurant chains would have tried to clean up their act, sanitize their image, and chase respectability. Waffle House did the opposite. While other chains in the 1990s were pursuing upscale casual dining, Waffle House was doubling down on their blue-collar identity. Other restaurants were hiding their kitchens behind walls. Waffle House kept theirs wide open, turning the kitchen into theatre. Competitors were training servers in wine service. Waffle House servers were learning to dodge flying hash browns during the occasional brawl. The industry was chasing suburban families. Waffle House was serving whoever showed up at 3 a.m. Consequences be damned. The viral video era did not help their reputation. Fighting became so associated with Waffle House that the phrase Waffle House Brawl became its own genre on social media. From chair-throwing customers to employees defending themselves with cleaning supplies, these incidents should have been public relations disasters. Instead of launching damage control campaigns or hiring consultants to rebrand their image, Waffle House leadership made a stunning decision. They embraced it all. They refused to apologize for their customers, their chaos, or their character. The final confirmation that Waffle House would never be respectable came when FEMA, the Federal Emergency Management Agency, started using Waffle House closure status as an official disaster severity metric. If Waffle House was closed, the situation was catastrophic. This was not a joke or marketing stunt. Government emergency coordinators genuinely relied on Waffle House operational status to gauge how bad conditions were after natural disasters. Green meant a full menu, yellow meant a limited menu, and red meant closed, which meant you should probably evacuate immediately. Being used as a disaster barometer was not exactly the kind of recognition most restaurant chains would celebrate. It essentially branded Waffle House as the place that stays open when civilization is failing. Not exactly fine dining territory, but Waffle House did not see this as a failure. They saw it as their superpower. While other restaurants closed for snow, hurricanes, or economic downturns, Waffle House stayed open. They became the anti-restaurant restaurant. What most people do not realize is that Waffle House disaster preparedness is not accidental. It is built into their DNA. Each location has detailed hurricane playbooks, emergency menus designed to work with limited power and water, and managers trained to operate like field commanders in disaster zones. When Hurricane Katrina devastated New Orleans in 2005, Waffle House mobilized like a military operation. They brought in portable generators, water tanks, and emergency supplies. Their executives worked the grills alongside surviving staff. While National Emergency Response struggled to reach victims, Waffle House was already serving hot meals to shell-shocked survivors. This crisis resilience earned them an unlikely respect from emergency management professionals. Former FEMA Administrator Craig Fugate coined the term Waffle House Index after noticing that their operational status was a more accurate predictor of community recovery than many government metrics. The index was not just about Waffle House staying open, it was about what that represented. Their ability to operate reflected the status of power grids, water systems, supply chains, and road accessibility. If Waffle House could serve a full menu, basic community infrastructure was functioning. If they were limited to a few items, utilities were compromised but recovering. And if Waffle House had to close, that meant you were in serious trouble. The company's disaster response skills became legendary within emergency management circles. They maintained their own fleet of mobile command centers that could deploy across state lines. Their supply chain was designed with hurricane season in mind, with multiple contingency plans for every ingredient and material. They even kept special jump teams of experienced managers ready to deploy into disaster zones at a moment's notice. Operational excellence contrasted sharply with their chaotic public image. The same restaurant chain that could not seem to prevent weekly brawls somehow maintained logistical systems that rivaled FEMA's own capabilities. It was a paradox that confused industry analysts, but made perfect sense to their devoted customers. The juxtaposition became even more stark as social media transformed Waffle House into a cultural meme factory. Videos of late-night fights circulated alongside footage of employees serving meals during hurricanes. They became simultaneously a punchline and a symbol of American resilience. This duality reached its peak during the 2017 hurricane season, when a series of devastating storms hit the southeast. As Hurricane Irma approached Florida, Waffle House activated its storm center and deployed resources ahead of the storm. While other businesses boarded up and evacuated, Waffle House stayed open as long as physically possible, often serving as the last hot meal many residents would have for days. In the aftermath, their restaurants became community gathering points where people could charge phones, get information, and find a moment of normalcy amid the chaos. Local officials worked directly with Waffle House management to coordinate recovery efforts. Emergency workers knew that if they spotted a Waffle House with lights on, that area had power and was safe to enter. This phenomenon was not limited to natural disasters. During the 2008 financial crisis, when upscale restaurants were closing their doors permanently, Waffle House barely felt the impact. Their low prices and 24/7 availability made them recession-proof in ways their competitors were not. When economic disaster struck, they operated with the same resilience they showed during hurricanes. The COVID-19 pandemic presented a different kind of challenge. For the first time in their history, Waffle House had to close hundreds of locations temporarily. The company that prided itself on never closing found itself forced to adapt to unprecedented restrictions. Yet even this crisis revealed their unique resilience. They quickly pivoted to takeout operations, simplified menus, and found ways to maintain their identity despite plexiglass barriers and masked servers. Throughout all these challenges, Waffle House never attempted to elevate their brand beyond its roots. They didn't hire celebrity chefs, launch artisanal menu items, or pursue Instagram-friendly redesigns. While chains like IHOP and Denny's tried desperately to reinvent themselves for changing tastes, Waffle House remained stubbornly, defiantly unchanged. This refusal to evolve might have seemed like business suicide to conventional wisdom. Restaurant consultants must have been pulling their hair out watching Waffle House ignore every industry trend. But their consistency became their greatest asset. When everything else in America was changing, Waffle House remained exactly the same. Their yellow signs became beacons of stability in an increasingly unstable world. The unchanging menu, the paper hats, the jukebox playing the same Waffle House songs, these were not signs of a business failing to modernize. They were conscious choices to preserve something increasingly rare: authenticity. Today, Waffle House operates over 1,900 locations across 25 states, still concentrated primarily in the South. They are still open 24/7, 365 days a year, still privately owned by the Rogers and Faulkner families, and still serving the exact same menu they have served for decades. Despite never achieving respectability, Waffle House generates over $1 billion in annual revenue. Their real estate ownership model has made them incredibly resilient. They survived the 2008 recession better than most restaurant chains because they were not paying rent to anyone. Waffle House has become a cultural touchstone that transcends food. Musicians write songs about it, comedians build entire sets around it, and social media treats it as the ultimate symbol of authentic American dining. It has been featured in movies, TV shows, and countless memes as the place where real life happens. By refusing to sanitize their brand, Waffle House accidentally created something more valuable than respectability. They created authenticity. In an era of corporate polish and focus-grouped messaging, they remained gloriously, chaotically real. Their story reveals something profound about American business. Sometimes embracing your identity, even your flaws, is more powerful than chasing someone else's definition of success. Waffle House never became what its critics wanted it to be. Instead, it became exactly what its customers needed. In the end, Waffle House did not just survive because their buildings were hurricane-resistant. They thrived because their identity was criticism-proof. They built a business that could weather not just natural disasters, but cultural ones too. And in doing so, they created something that fancy restaurants with Michelin stars and celebrity chefs could never achieve: a truly indestructible American institution. So what do you think? Did Waffle House actually fail by choosing chaos over class? Or did they succeed in ways that respectability never could have delivered? Let us know in the comments below. While you're here, check out some of these other videos about restaurants that chose character over conformity from the Falling Food channel.